assisted by the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Michaela Overholtzer, was the lead CSI on the case. A search on Ken's home was conducted, and several items were collected as evidence, including multiple kinds of ammunition, 2 more 9mm handguns, 2 .22 long rifles, a tablet, computer, 4 flash drives, and drug paraphernalia. When Ken committed the shooting and his ultimate suicide, his blood alcohol was .085, which is just over the legal limit in the state of Florida. It should be noted that the .08 legal limit is related to intoxication for the purposes of driving. There is no legal limit for an individual that is walking on foot. There was no evidence connecting Ken to any terrorist group or organization. His only true issue seemed to be with his firing and his co-workers. 44-year-old Brenda Montanez Crespo was a loving mother, grandmother, and sister. Though there was little research to be found, we can report that Brenda was a hard-working single mother who was known for her bubbly attitude. She was like a ray of sunshine, and she will be deeply missed by those that knew and loved her. 69-year-old Robert Bob Snyder was born on April 27, 1948 in Akron, Ohio. He was always laughing and wore a perpetual smile. Bob was a true family man that was intensely proud of them. Bob married his wife Lois, and the couple had 6 children together. A quiet, humble man, he very much enjoyed playing billiards and was even in a league. He would often stop at Trick Shots Billiards in Winter Park, Florida, almost every single night on his way home from work, just for a short time. He was the sales manager at Fiamma and only a year from retirement. Bob was looking forward to retiring, though he was a hard worker who usually went in early and stayed late. The loss of Bob will be felt by all that knew him. Kevin Clark was born on July 28, 1963 in Melbourne, Florida. Only 53 years old when he was murdered, Kevin was an avid photographer and devoted father. He was a devout attendee of the Willow Creek Church, where he loved volunteering his free time. Everyone that knew Kevin loved him. He just had that way about him. His wife, Kelly, preceded him in death in 2010, and the knowledge that they are now together again is the only comfort of such tragic loss. Kevin's death effectively orphaned his children, 17-year-old Gavin and 14-year-old Delaney. He was often seen on the sideline of his son's football games, taking pictures. His daughter was a cheerleader, so the games were more than just a game. It was really family bonding time. Kevin started in January as a logistics manager of sales at Fiamma, which was a job he was very good at and enjoyed. After his death, Kevin's children went to live with family friends, and a GoFundMe page was established to help cover funeral expenses and help pay for college tuition for the kids. The fund raised almost $90,000 by 1,400 individuals, which is in and of itself a testament to the man Kevin was and how much he was loved and will be missed. 47-year-old Kevin Lawson was born on September 15, 1970, in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He served in the U.S. Army 82nd Airborne Division, as well as Operation Desert Storm. In 2005, he met Janet in Newport Richey, and it wasn't long before she became his wife. The couple married in April of 2007 and settled down in Longwood, Florida. Kevin was the backbone of his family and leaves behind a son and 3 daughters, as well as 5 grandsons. He loved riding his motorcycle and was an absolute diehard Tennessee Vols football fan. Kevin was the kind of man that always let his family and loved ones know how much they meant to him. You knew Kevin loved you, and that kind of love is truly priceless. It's believed that Kevin was targeted because he had been the shooter's supervisor, and therefore had a hand in his termination. Despite the reason for his death, Kevin was beloved, and will be missed terribly. Jeffrey Jeff Roberts was born on January 27, 1960, and was only 57 years old when he was killed. Jeff spent the weekend before his murder celebrating his grandson's 11th birthday. Born in Seminole, Oklahoma, Jeff graduated from Chandler High School before attending Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. He married his wife, his soulmate of over 37 years, Tammy, on August 2nd, 1980, in Jasper, Missouri, and the couple was deeply in love and inseparable. The morning of the shooting, she watched her husband walk to the door and say, "I'll see you tonight," never knowing she would never again lay eyes on him alive. Jeff was a self-taught handyman and could fix just about anything. He loved watching old Western movies and action movies with his son and grandson, and could shoot the breeze for hours about anything from cars and video games to history and politics. Jeff will be missed very much by his friends and family. That includes many nieces, nephews, and a great-niece.
Active shooter, reports of an active shooter,
mass casualty incidents.
Active shooter, reports of an active shooter,
mass casualty incidents.
Ken was born on May 2nd, 1972, in Sydney, New York. He attended Lake Brantley High School, where it was reported that Ken had serious issues with authority and didn't like being told what to do. Police interviewed his mother and sister on June 5th, 2017, and they each indicated that they had no contact with Ken for several years. The sister was on vacation in New York at the time of the shooting, and when she learned about it, she immediately flew back to Orlando to be with her mom. The sister reported that she believed Ken suffered from some sort of mental illness, though he hadn't ever been diagnosed. She continued, reporting that Ken had been mentally abused by their mother, which had made him angry. She admitted she had never been close with Ken, and neither she nor her mother believed Ken had ever been married or even had a girlfriend, and his mother especially seemed to be in denial about her son's issues, although she apologized for his actions. Ken served in the Army from September 18, 1991, until he was honorably discharged on January 14, 1993. The reason for the honorable discharge was because he failed to meet the height and weight requirements. When he was discharged, Ken was given a mental evaluation, and he scored within the normal limits, and there were no issues with superiors noted. Ken successfully interacted with peers and nothing further was noted. During his time in the Army, Ken was a qualified sharpshooter with an M16 and had the second best qualification rating. There were no records of Ken receiving specialized tactical training while he was in the military. As is the case with so many other shooters, Ken made threats about hurting people at his place of work, but no one took him seriously. He had previously shown pictures to other employees of guns and a bow and arrow, but it doesn't seem it was done in a threatening manner. An acquaintance of Ken's told police they were supposed to get together on Sunday, but Ken canceled at the last minute. Ken had many arrests and charges for offenses, such as driving while under the influence, and was a habitual offender of driving on a suspended license. He also had charges for resisting an officer without violence, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. On May 6, 2014, a coworker filed a report against Ken for battery after he claimed that Ken hit him in the back of the head and tried choking him with the strap of his backpack. Ken waited for the employee to ride his bike home before he attacked the other man. The case was eventually dropped, though the employee complained that Ken was physical with him when their supervisor was out to lunch.
He attacked me physically, and I felt at the time that he was trying to strangle me with this backpack.
Ken had arrests in Seminole County in 1995, 1996, 2000, 2003, 2009, and 2010. In 1995, he was arrested for fleeing and eluding, driving without a seatbelt, driving on a suspended license, and driving under the influence. In 1999, he was arrested for driving on a suspended license, theft, and giving a deputy a false name. This led to a probation violation, and he was sentenced to 60 days in jail. In 2000, he was arrested for driving on a suspended license again, and this, too, led to a probation violation. Ken served 9 days in jail for this arrest. In 2003, he stole a license plate and placed it on his beige 1981 Toyota pickup truck, which was not registered. The truck was found parked outside a home in Altamonte Springs, with the passenger door left propped open. A deputy drove by and became concerned that someone might have been stolen from the truck, or that someone may have broken into the truck. He stopped and knocked on the door of the house the truck was parked in front of, and spoke with Ken. Ken indicated that the truck was not burglarized. When the deputy asked about the plate and registration, Ken stayed quiet. He was placed under arrest, and while he was being arrested, the deputy located a gold marijuana pipe on Ken's person. He was charged with possession of stolen property, marijuana possession, paraphernalia possession, driving with a suspended license, and habitual offender. Ken was sentenced to serve 378 days in jail for this offense. In December of 2009, Ken was arrested for possession of marijuana, driving on suspended license, and leaving the scene of an accident where there was property damage. He was sentenced for this crime in February of 2010 and received 60 days in jail. Ken lived in a trailer in a mobile home park called Lake of the Woods Mobile Home Park, and it was located on a busy road. He lived alone there, and periodically he would ride his bike around the park. He was known as mostly quiet, but would talk to neighbors occasionally. Ken enjoyed sports like soccer, and he liked going to Orlando City soccer games and Daytona Beach to watch NASCAR. A neighbor that had known Ken for about 5 years claimed that he was really struggling with being fired. He said the night Ken was let go, the neighbor had a cookout and some beers with Ken to try and cheer him up. He never said why he was fired, just that it was his own fault. The neighbor believed Ken was a decent guy who had a rough life. Never did he expect Ken to take so many innocent lives in such a brutal way. It's difficult to say whether this tragedy could have been prevented. Certainly, Ken showed some warning signs, but was it enough? We all have the unique ability to help prevent such a catastrophic event from happening, if we keep our eyes and ears open and never hesitate to report when something or someone just doesn't seem right. It is our sincerest wish that there will be no more active or mass shooting stories to tell. We pray that love will prevail over hate.
Too many have died. We should say to ourselves, not one more.
In the meantime, we urge our listeners to stay aware of your surroundings and keep in touch with your loved ones. If you see something, say something. You never know how many lives you'll be saving.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Active Shooter, the podcast. Remember, if you see something, say something. There's no telling how many lives you may be saving.
A huge thank you to Darren Curtis, who composed some of the music used in this episode. Check him out at darrencurtismusic.com. DARRENCURTIS music.com.
Active shooter. Reports of an active shooter. Active shooter.
Active shooter. Mass casualty incidents.
Make sure to check us out on social media. We have a discussion group on Facebook. Just search for Active Shooter, the podcast discussion group. You can also find us on Instagram at Active the Podcast and Twitter at Podcast Active. For just $1 a month, you can get access to ad-free episodes, early release episodes when available, and a shout-out on the show. Just go to patreon.com/Active the Podcast. Thank you, and be safe.